Well, Jim, real quick before we move on, as I said before we moved on, but let's preview this weekend's Backlash, which is coming from Puerto Rico, from San Juan, WWE Backlash, this Saturday as we are recording right now.
What's the big card there, Brian? Let me take some notes.
The big card, as listed on Wikipedia, we're not going to play that game again where I go to their actual website. In a San Juan street fight, Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest.
And somebody tweeted me after I said last week, so this a musician comes in with a kendo stick and beats up a 6'7", 250-pound pro wrestler. And why couldn't they have put him in a match with a tag match or whatever where he's protected? And somebody said, well, he's already wrestled once. Remember, you and Brian thought he did a good job. Yes, remember he wrestled once with Damian Priest as his partner against, and I can't even remember who the opponents were, but he didn't embarrass him. It was WrestleMania a couple years ago. He didn't embarrass himself. He didn't look bad, but it was a tag team match where you could have a guy do his shit, but there was still technically a wrestler on the team. Now it's one-on-one, a recording artist that's had one professional wrestling match is going to fight in a street fight against this guy that's a foot taller and blah, blah, blah. And that's the kind of thing that I say, even if he does a good job, then that just makes people believe that this stuff is easy and everybody can do it. And if he doesn't do a good job, then you got a shitty fucking match. So, they've sold the soul of the integrity of the wrestler's toughness aura to have a musician be. Is he going to get beat? I'd think. How are you going to beat Bugs Bunny in Puerto Rico? They'll have a riot. Damian Priest will have his guts cut out. My God, they used to try to set fire to the fucking heels just for fucking one of the other wrestlers, much less a native countryman hero. So I have a hard time buying that singles, one-on-one, street fight, no rules. Damian Priest ain't going to be able to beat Bugs Bunny. Go ahead.
For the Raw Women's Championship, the champion Bianca Belair versus Io Sky with Bayley and Dakota Kai.
But now Rhea Ripley is wrestling Zelina Vega on the card too, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so then you won't get real mad at me if I skip this one.
No, actually, I won't. I really won't.
Okay, because, and again, somebody's going, you don't like Bianca. No, I don't want to see Bianca wrestle fucking Sky and Kai and Ty and whoever the fuck else.
Well, the next match, a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship. The champion, Austin Theory, versus Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed.
And you can tell they have writers now instead of bookers, because after Lashley and Reed had that stinker of a single match against each other, and we saw that there's a style clash and they need to have things set up and move at a slower pace that they can keep up with and make the big things register and tell a story, they throw them in a three-way where it's going to be a fucking mess and it's almost impossible to tell a story. And hopefully Theory will emerge still as U.S. champion because he's the future of the company amongst the three of the people that we just talked about. Although, if they get Bronson Reed out of his suit and stop letting people know that his mother called him Mr. Nice Guy, I'm very interested in Bronson Reed. And poor Bobby Lashley, what happened to the thought of the Hurt Business reuniting? Apparently that's gone away. And he's still standing over there in the corner with his dick in his hand, because he looks lonely.
Well, the next match, Jim, a singles match. Seth Franklin Rollins versus Omos with MVP.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm sure Seth is going to take some interesting, creative, inventive bumps off the big feller. And again, Seth has to win, but how do you keep beating this 7.5-foot giant without rendering him completely useless? And wait a minute, Seth, So who'd Seth get drafted by or to? Is he switching sides?
No, I think he's staying on Raw.
Where's Almost going?
Almost is a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants.
Can't even say that. I was going to say they might could get away with beating fucking Seth, beating him illegally, cheating, and then they're never around each other anymore, but that doesn't even work, so I give up.
And I guess they're not even building to a Seth versus Roman match after that opening segment with Heyman and Seth. It was just the Seth solo thing at the end of the show. But Jim, our next match, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar.
Okay, well, next match, that better be the last one. If that's not the main event.
Not the main event.
What? Okay, well, in that case, I think Cody has to win this. I really do. I really think that Cody needs to beat Brock Lesnar 1, 2, 3 in some form or fashion in the middle of the ring because he got beat at WrestleMania. And even if he's chasing, you can't jog if you're chasing. You got to run. He's got to do something big, and I think he's got to do it here. I would be astonished if they do not, in some way, take some of the goodwill out of Brock's bank and put it into Cody's account with a win over Brock Lesnar, which doesn't happen every day. But stranger things have happened. They did at WrestleMania. Now, what could be the fucking main event?
The main event? Matt Riddle, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn versus the bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso with Paul Heyman.
I agree that is a excellent match, a main event level match, a storyline driven match. The angles pointed to it, blah, blah, blah. But I don't see how you can advertise that on top of Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Having said that, I don't know where the bloodline thing is going now that they've slowed it down to a glacial pace, but one would think that the baby faces need to win that because especially if it's on last, they're going to send people home happy, but also because there will be some business between the Usos and Solo that might cause them to have a hiccup and the baby faces capitalize on it. And we mentioned it. Rhea Ripley is wrestling Zelina Vega. And
that's right.
Yes, well, we glossed over it.
Yeah, sorry.
But my money's on Ripley, obviously, because they ain't going to switch the title just because it's in the one girl's hometown. And she don't need to beat Rhea Ripley in any other city in the country or the world. So I think Ripley retains there. And
well, what about the idea that Zelina Vega will be staying on SmackDown and Rhea Ripley won't?
You can't.
I don't agree with defeating Rhea Ripley right now, for the record.
But again, even if that's like saying, okay, well, George South was going to be in Columbia, South Carolina next week, whereas Flair is going to be in Japan for 2 weeks. So let's put George over Flair on TV for Columbia's sake. No. I don't think there's a universe where Zelina Vega defeats Rhea Ripley right now, regardless of where she's going. Not in any logical universe.